Good afternoon and welcome to Penguins TV. So guys, forgive the setup. I'm still working on getting this just the way I want. The microphone sounds better here and it covers this up, so bear with me. It's getting better by the day, but it is what it is. So what I want to talk about today is a recap of the way the Pittsburgh Penguins ended their season. I'm not talking about the way things are 6 months from now. I'm talking about the way things ended. And in this video, the focus is going to be about our forwards. And in this video in particular, what we're looking at is where our forward group stands now as they ended on the ice a few days ago. Okay, we're going to be looking at the position that each player was playing in. As an example here, Sidney Crosby is our top line center. Okay, number one unit across the board here. His current age, I know Sid in just 3-4 months turns 34, but as of when the season ended, he was 33. He's earning $8.7 million a year, and he has 4 years left on that contract. So that's an example of where this video is going to go, and this is about the forwards. Next video will probably be about defense and goaltending. Season recap will be another video. Projections going forward, but baby steps. Let's start with this one. It's the first one I've done like this. That's not a game recap, so let's see how it goes. All right, please comment down below if you like or didn't like it, or, well, you know, subscribe. Okay, so here we go. What I want to get into right off the hop here is I'm going to pull this off to the side, is the top line here is Jake Guentzel. This isn't working. I want you guys to be able to see what's going on here. Maybe I'll pull this down a little bit. I'm going to move the mic a lot. We've got Jake Guentzel on the top line with Sidney Crosby and Bryan Rust. This is our top line for most of the season. It's a fantastic top line, top 7 in the NHL. You could even say top 5. Some may say top 4. I'd have a hard time going past top 5. You know, I think there's that line in Colorado. I think there's whatever line McDavid's on. And there's also the perfection line in Boston. So let's go top 5 line. Now, I've heard rumors. I heard someone say on Pittsburgh radio the other day that Jake Guentzel's on his way out. And I think that's asinine. Now, is it possible? Sure, anything's possible. Wayne Gretzky got traded. But I think Jake Guentzel is one of the most unlikely pieces on our entire team to move. Here's why. Let's start with left wing in this particular video, okay? Jake Guentzel is only 26 years old, which makes him one of the youngest players on our team. Okay, at $6 million per year, he's a relative bargain, and he's locked up for 3 more years. Jake Guentzel isn't going anywhere. Okay, he is very comfortable playing with Sid Crosby. Sid Crosby loves playing with him. Sid, of course, is 33, going on 34 at the end of the year. $8.7 million on the contract, and 4 years remaining. So you've got 3 years remaining with Guentzel, with Sid. Guentzel's just hitting his prime, of course. And Sidney's still playing very, very, very well. So Guentzel's not going anywhere. Crosby's not going anywhere. Bryan Rust, age 29, only has 1 year left at $3.5 million, which is a bargain for one of the highest producing right wingers in hockey the last 12 to 18 months. His progression the last 12 to 18 months has astounded me. I always thought he had the ability to be a clutch performer in the playoffs. I had no idea his skill level could reach this high. I had no idea his game could go this high. He is now a legitimate top-line right wing. One of the 5 best right wingers in hockey in terms of offensive production. He's been second or third in goals for the last 12 to 18 months. Absolutely blows my mind. I thought he was a piece you could put on the top 6, but I never thought he would be a shot creator and a shot generator the way he has turned out to be. I'm absolutely thrilled with where Rust has gone. Okay, next let's get down to the second line. You've got Evgeny Malkin, our 34-year-old center, turning 35 this year. He's at $9.5 million with 1 year left. Okay, his left winger, at least some of the time, is Jason Zucker, age 29, at $5.5 million with 2 years remaining. Okay, over on right wing, we have Kasperi Kapanen, age 24, at $3.2 million with 1 year remaining. Okay, our newly acquired center on the third line is Jeff Carter, age 36. Don't let that fool you. He's still one of the fastest players on our team. He's a workout fiend. We got him for an absolute bargain of $2.6 million. That's about half his salary cap. It cost us a draft pick and more, but he's committed to playing at least 1 more year. I'm going to go into a little more detail on these players in a minute, but I thought first I'd go through the lines as they are. And last but not least, let's swing over this way. You've got Jared McCann, age 24, at $2.94 million with 1 year left as well. Okay, and over here on the right wing, Typically, this is where Evan Rodrigues was slotting in, but near the end of the year, Goudreau was playing so well that he kind of stole that spot from Evan Rodrigues, who is a Swiss Army knife. He can play anywhere. Goudreau's got a little more jam in his game, and I think that's why he gets to play more in the playoffs. So Evan Rodrigues is a great player. He's played all through our lineup. Don't worry about that. I expect him to be back. I'll cover that in another video. Fourth line, of course, Teddy Blooger, age 26. Okay, excuse me, Goudreau at $700,000, 1 year left at age 28. Fourth line, Teddy Blooger, age 26, $750,000. It was his salary. He is now a restricted free agent. We'll get into that in a minute. His right winger, Brandon Tanev, Turbo Tanev as we call him, age 29, $3.5 million, and he has 2 years remaining on that deal. And last but not least, bottom left here is our fourth line left wing. It's Zac Aston Reese, age 26, earning $1 million this year, and he's also a restricted free agent. So now that I've explained to you what the chart means and why I broke it down this way, it's because I wanted to give us an idea of what was on the ice for forwards, as much for myself as for you, at the end of the season, and how close we can come back to this lineup next year. If you've watched any of my videos before, or if you've been following me on Twitch, you'll know I'm a huge fan of this forward group. I was a huge fan of the forward group before Jeff Carter. I didn't think we would bring in a Jeff Carter. I am thrilled that we did. I hope he stays till he's 40. I hope he keeps playing. He's got all kinds of game left. He was our best player in the playoffs, in my opinion. Okay, that's just my opinion. He was one of our best players since we acquired him. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of the Jeff Carter move. Did not see it coming. Didn't think it was possible. And I pride myself on knowing all things Penguins. Didn't see it coming. Had no idea. Love the move. Absolutely love that move. Okay, Sidney Crosby, of course, isn't going anywhere. That's an easy one. Let's skip that. Jake Guentzel, in my opinion, absolutely not going anywhere. Okay, that's just, at $6 million a year, a guy who's going to score 30-plus goals every year, and Sid loves playing with him, he's just not going anywhere. I think it's ridiculous to think otherwise. Brian Rust. My concern about Brian Rust going forward is I love him and I want him to stay, and he's a perfect fit on that top line. And the nice thing about both Rust and Guentzel is they can play with Malkin. Okay, this top six can move all over the place. We actually have pieces here with Rust, Kapanen, Malkin, Crosby, Guentzel, Zucker, Mccann, and Carter that can all move through the top six, which is lovely. Now, in an ideal world, if they're healthy, it's going to be Crosby, Malkin, and Carter in that order. But those wingers, those five wingers can move all around them. Zucker and Rust have already proven they can play well with Malkin and Crosby. Particularly, they tend to play more with Crosby. Kapanen is certainly found huge chemistry with Evgeny Malkin. Now, because Kapanen has found huge chemistry with Evgeny Malkin, that frees us up to do other things in our top nine. It allows us to move Jared McCann down to 3 with Jeff Carter, because Jeff Carter and Jared McCann had such great success together in the short time they played together. Yes, McCann plays really well with Malkin as well, but if you put Malkin up with Kapanen and Malkin, if you put McCann up with Kapanen and Malkin, then the problem is there's a bit of a drop-off there in chemistry. If you put Zucker with Carter, you're not going to get quite as much out, and that's what it seems to be. So I can live with that. Even though I'd rather have McCann with Malkin, I kind of understand, and I kind of want McCann with Carter, so I get that, okay? It is what it is. So my concern with Brian Rust is at $3.5 million, we want to take another crack at the cup this year if we shore up our goaltending and our defense, okay? Particularly our goaltending. I'm not saying that doesn't mean DeSmith or Jarry isn't there, but there needs to be another influence in nets, okay? And if they don't address that this year, not only would I be shocked, I'd be dismayed. I've been calling for it since February. If you've been following me in the channel, I said number one concern I have, even when our goaltending was one of the better goaltending tandems in the NHL, my concern, unfortunately, was exactly what happened. I was concerned, what if one of our goaltenders get hurt? Okay, what if one of our goaltenders get hurt? And that's exactly what happened. Jarry wasn't quite as sharp when he came back from injury near the end of the season, but in the playoffs, he was terrible. But would he have been as terrible in the playoffs if Casey DeSmith was healthy to back him up? Could Casey DeSmith have come in and played well, and when Jarry went back in, he would have been better, instead of Jarry playing at an .890 save percentage for the entire playoffs? I don't blame Tristan Jarry. I blame organizational goaltending depth. I wanted a third goaltender. We didn't get it. The organization did not have confidence in Maxime Legacy from the minors, and he didn't go in when Tristan Jarry surely was not playing well enough. Had Casey DeSmith been healthy enough, it might not have been an issue. So my concern is bring that third goaltender into the organization and keep him on the roster during the COVID run. Next year, will the roster allowances be the same? I'm not sure. But next year, I would have carried that this year, I would have carried that three goaltender, and I would have maybe made an allowance for a bit of a rotation there, okay? And that's exactly what happened in the playoffs. We were not taking anything away from the Islanders fans. Islanders fans, total respect. You guys beat us. You deserve to win, period. But from my perspective as a Penguins fan, having watched this team all my life and what I know about them, the goaltending sunk us. I think had we had goaltending even similar to what the Islanders have, we would have won that series in 5 instead of losing it in 6. Now, don't lose your minds, Islanders fans, if you're out there losing that. I just gave you mad respect for your team. I think you have a great team, and you beat us. Fair and square, you deserve to beat us. This is just my perspective on why we lost. Okay, I believe goaltending sunk us all day long. Could our defense be better? Absolutely. Absolutely our defense could be better. But our goaltending was not where it was during the regular season, and that's because we didn't have our backup. Had we had another backup, a David Riddick or a Cam Talbot or a Mike Smith, I'm just throwing names out there, whether it was realistic or not, another guy that could come in and stabilize, a Casey DeSmith type, things would have turned out differently in my opinion. Okay, I got off on a tangent there about goaltending. So my concern about Brian Rust is that $3.5 million, he could become trade bait. I don't think so. I think that's unlikely, but it is possible. Okay, I think the team is going to run with him at 3.5 this year because you're not going to get much better value than Brian Rust at 3.5. He's now a 30-plus goal threat. Last year he was on pace for 41 and 41 in an 82-game season, and this year he was pretty good as well. So I expect they'll keep him, and they'll keep that top line together, and they're going to try and hold on to him after the season. Whether they'll be able to or not, I don't know. I think he's going to end up close to Jake Guentzel at $6 million. I think he's going to be up around $5.5 million. Someone's probably going to offer him 3 years at $6 million, 3 years at 5.5. Can we afford to keep him? I'd love to. Will we keep him? I hope so. Okay, let's get on to the second line. Evgeny Malkin, age 34, going on to 35 at 9.5. They'll run this year out, and they're going to work on another contract with him. I expect he'll get a 3-year deal to match Sidney so that they have the same contract length. So he'll get a 3-year deal, okay, sometime this year before this contract runs out, or maybe after the season. That's fine, but it'll be a 3-year deal, and it'll be to match Sid. It'll probably be right around this price, somewhere between 8.5 and 9.5 million. Again, I can't see it going up. Okay, it wouldn't be healthy for it to go up. I can't see it going real far down either. So I expect it'll be between Sid's 8.7 and the 9.5 he's making right now is what I expect. Kasperi Kapanen, 24 years old, $3.2 million, 1 year left. We gave up a first rounder to get him back. We originally drafted him back in 2014. We don't want him to go anywhere. We love his jam. He is a much more skilled player than I thought he was. He's a perfect fit for Malkin. I expect Kapanen will remain on Malkin's wing for the rest of his career. Those things change from year to year, but I expect Kapanen and Malkin to be a duo you see together nonstop, just like Crosby and Guentzel. Okay, Kapanen at 3.2, we will re-sign him. I expect it'll be a longer-term deal. I expect we'll re-sign him by the end of next year. Probably 6 years at around $4.5 million is what I expect to hold on to him long-term. So we have that player going forward like we do with Jake Guentzel to match up with Malkin. Okay, so I wouldn't be worried about Kasperi Kapanen going anywhere. The price is right. What he does is right. He's one of the best forecheckers in the league. He's one of the fastest players in the league. And Pittsburgh likes the way he plays. The chemistry he showed with Malkin during the season, they had about a month stretch where they were arguably the best duo in the NHL until they both got hurt within about 5-6 games of each other. Okay, he wasn't as good in the playoffs. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if he was dealing with something, but hey, it is what it is, right? Let's go over to the left side. And we're going to talk about Jason Zucker. Now, here's where things get sticky for me. I like Jason Zucker. I really like the way he plays. I think he plays Penguins hockey. He's tough. I just like the jam in his game. He's a really good player. My concern with Jason Zucker is that $5.5 million for 2 more years. Heck, it wouldn't matter if it was 1 more year at 5.5. A guy that is producing the way he is, which is basically our 1, 2, 3, at best, at very best, he's our 4th best winger, at best, okay? And a guy that is often on the third line, okay, sometimes on the second line, finish the season on the second line. $5.5 million is just too much money for the way he produces, okay? If he scored more, that's great. I would leave him. I haven't checked on his no-move clause. Actually, let me check here. Let me see. Do I have a no-move clause list here? No, I don't. I wish I did. But I would leave him exposed if we could in the expansion draft. I will go over that in more detail, and maybe I'll eat some of my words when I do an expansion draft video on who I think we should protect and who I think we're going to protect. But I just think he's too expensive at 5.5, even if I'd like to keep him. If he was $4 million, I could handle it a lot better at $4 million. I can't begin to justify it at 5.5. I think the Penguins, we paid so much for him. I think we gave up a first rounder for him. I think they want to keep him. I don't know how you can keep him on this roster at 5.5 million, but they probably will. But I personally, I think it's too expensive. I like the player. I like the way he plays, but I can't pay him more than $4 million a year. 5.5 is ludicrous to me on this roster, the way we're set up. With the salary cap concerns we have. Okay, that's just my opinion. Jeff Carter. To me, this one's a no-brainer. We're going to keep him this year at 2.6. One of the best bargains on the entire roster. Okay, love it. I hope he decides to stay with us. He'll probably sign 1-year contracts or a 2-year contract after this year. He likes it in Pittsburgh. He likes the drive to win. So when Malkin resigns, I expect Carter will resign, and I bet we'll get him for around $4.5 million, which is great, which is fine. Maybe even $5 million. I'd be fine with that. I'd give Jeff Carter $5.5 million. Okay, I hope we don't have to, but I fully expect him to re-sign unless he decides to retire. I hope he doesn't. He's got all kinds of legs left. He's a workout fiend. I hope he stays. So that one's easy to me. Let's go over to the left side here and talk about Jared McCann. This is a difficult one to me. The reason this is difficult to me is he is arguably our fourth best winger. Okay, our best winger is Guentzel, Rust, Kapanen, Mccann. Right? Those are the two. The issue with Mccann is he's going to get a raise. He scored 6 power play goals near the end of the season. He has a great shot. He's got a big frame. If he can stay healthy, he's good on the forecheck. If he adds a little more jam to his game, I would love to see him play with Kapanen and Malkin. I don't know if we're going to get that. But that second line, if McCann were to move up there with Kapanen and Malkin, they look great together for a short run this season. I would love to see that. At 2.94, I fully expect, just like Rust, we're going to keep him as a value contract. Those are value contracts. We're going to have Cross at the end of the year. When the end of the year comes, I suspect we're going to lose him. I suspect he's going to end up around $4 million a year. But this year, he's a value contract. Could he get traded? Sure, anybody could get traded. But to me, the two value contracts on this roster, well, obviously Jeff Carter, but the two that I'm most concerned about are Rust and McCann. I don't mind paying Carter when this contract's up. My concern is paying Rust and McCann when the contract is up. I'd love to see McCann up there with Malkin and Kapanen. I think McCann, Malkin, and Kapanen would be as good a second line as Crosby, Guentzel, and Rust. So we'd have 2 number 1 lines there. Even with aging centers, we'd keep younger wingers on the wings. Okay, you'd have 26-year-old Guentzel and 29-year-old Rust with 33-year-old Crosby. I know they're all getting older. On the second line, you'd have 24-year-old McCann with 34-year-old Malkin and 24-year-old Kapanen. That's nice. You got youth on the wings with the older centers. And then on the third line, if we were to move Zucker and find another solution there, you'd have Jeff Carter at 36, but like I said, his wheels are not a concern. Okay? So that moves us over to Frederick Goudreau. Now, this guy's 28 years old. I love the jam in his game. He's got 1 year left at $700,000. I would love to keep him. I think we're going to be able to. I think after the year, we're probably going to be able to sign him for about $1.2 million for about 2 years, maybe $1.5 million. I think it would be a mistake to let him go when he's that useful. He can play second line wing. He can play center on the third line and the fourth line. He can play wing on the third and fourth line. I like his character. He scored 2 goals against us in the Nashville Stanley Cup Final 4 or 5 years ago. I thought he played well near the end of the season. I thought he played well in the playoffs. I think it would be a mistake to let him go at a value deal. I think he will be re-signed. Okay, let's go to the fourth line. This is where my real concern with this lineup comes in, and it's Teddy Blooger. Teddy Blooger is a restricted free agent at $750,000. He's 26 years old. I think you'd be awfully hard-pressed to find many fourth-line centers better in the NHL. I would say top 3. That's just my opinion. I'm a Penguins fan. All respect to the Isles. I think the Isles have the best fourth line in hockey. I think ours is the second best fourth line in hockey. It's very difficult to pay a guy $3.5 million on the fourth line, but Brandon Tanev is that exception. Okay, Tanev and Blooger and Zac Aston Reese were fantastic together this year. We'd like to keep them together. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't expect that Brandon Tanev is going anywhere. We love the way he plays. He plays Penguins hockey. He's top 5 in hits and getting hit yearly usually. I love his speed. I love his tenacity. He's just a wonderful player. Now, could he slide up to the third line at times? Absolutely. I think I'd rather have someone with a little more skill like Goudreau there, and it would be ideal to keep Tanev on 4. The question is, can you afford to keep Tanev at $3.5 million on the fourth line? I would really like to. Okay, so Teddy Blooger is a restricted free agent. That means we have to offer him at least $750,000 before he can explore options after the draft lottery. Okay, I think there's a fan going in here. I think we're going to be able to keep Teddy Blooger. I hope we can keep Teddy Blooger, but I'm also scared we'll lose Teddy Blooger. Okay, he's due for a raise. I think he's going to end up around $2 million a year. I think we'd have to sign him. He's 26. I think we'd have to sign him for, I would say, somewhere between 2 and 4 years at minimum $2 million a year. I would love to, but where's that money coming from? Well, I'd like it to come from right here, the Jason Zucker contract. Okay, if we can move him. So I am concerned about losing Blooger. There's no two ways about it. Of all the players on this roster right now that I'm most concerned about this summer, that is him right there, Teddy Blooger. Okay, and on the wing here, we've got Zac Aston Reese. Now, I'm not normally a Zac Aston Reese fan, but this year I became a Zac Aston Reese fan. I like the jam in his game. That fourth line is just beautiful, but he's currently being paid $1 million a year. We will have to match that. At $1 million a year, let's keep him. But I wouldn't keep him at $2 million a year. Okay, I would rather keep Evan Rodriguez, who's got a little more upside at scoring. But I do like the jam in Zac Aston Reese game, so that's the trade-off there. Okay, I like the jam in Zac Aston Reese's game, but could we bring in someone a little bigger with just as much jam for a similar price? Maybe, and I expect so. So my concerns in this roster: the 2 restricted free agents of Zac Aston Reese and Teddy Blooger. Can we keep them both? If I was guessing, I think Zac Aston Reese will be the one to go. I really hope it's not Teddy Blooger. I hope we can keep him. Could we return this whole lineup this year? Yes, but we're right up against it, so something has to change somewhere. If I'm picking one guy to change, 2 guys to change, it's Zucker at 5.5 and Zac Aston Reese. Those are my picks. We'll see what happens. Okay? I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Next up is defense. Please tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. I'm gonna add one more thing before we go here. The guys on this lineup that I absolutely do not think are going anywhere before the season starts. To start the season, I absolutely think we start with Guentzel, Crosby, Kapanen, Mccann, and Carter. Those are the 5 that I think 100% aren't being moved. Rust, I hope, doesn't go anywhere, but maybe they see a chance to get bigger. You know, if we give up some... but I think they're going to want to keep him in a value contract. It's such a good value. So I wanted to add that at the end. Please comment down below if you, if you want to ask me something. Subscriptions mean a lot to me. Thank you for your time. And I will be back with defense next on the next Pittsburgh Penguins-centric video. Of course, game recaps keep coming. I hope you all have a good day. Please get vaccinated. I got vaccinated last week. It pinched for half a second. And I haven't seen any helicopters following me. So be good to yourself. Take care of yourself. Things are challenging right now, and be good to those around you. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.